So without further ado, we're going to talk to our playwright a little bit and see what's on his mind. So if you would, another completely spontaneous but genuine, heartfelt round of applause for Jonathan Luskin. Jonathan and I have worked in other similar ways. I was a member of an improv group a while ago called Tilted Frame, and we got Jonathan to direct us in long form. And he's done a lot of plays around the Bay Area. He's a member of Playground, and is esteemed, I think, in the world here.
Directing improv, think about that. I think it's a contradiction, but it's not really. We spent a lot of time doing exercises. It was kind of like writing, but without paper and pencil. It's like writing with actors and giving them goals and obstacles and strategies. Underneath a play is there could be a structure which is independent of the actual play. So,
yeah. So let me ask you about yourself as a writer. So what do you like to write about? If there's one certain thing, or are you very all over the map? Are you drawn to certain themes or ideas?
No idea.
Actually,
I put on a show up at the Throckmorton once where I had 8 short plays that were mine, and watching that show, I kind of got an idea of what I was interested in, my obsessions. Let's see. Well, there's the nature plays. There's the play like a couple goes in the woods with a lot of drama therapy exercises in a book, and they do them out in the woods. That was a play. There is a similar, a play where a father takes his son out to look for snipes in the woods. That's that thing where they send you off for snipes. I have a lot of plays which are sort of dystopian future kind of plays. Some petty criminals who steal the last Christmas tree. That was one of them. And then political ones. This particular play you're going to see tonight, I actually wrote 3 short plays based on this kind of subject. And I was preparing to write a full-length play out of it, so it's so wonderful that you're going to write it for me. That's cool.
What's the name of the piece tonight?
It's The Long Arc.
And what is it in a nutshell?
Yeah, I was just talking to Lynn there about that. The play or the title or the play in a nutshell?
The idea what's
going on? So, you may be aware that there have been quite a number of political sex scandals in the last number of years. And every time one happens, they always try to explain it. And the explanations are just all over the place. It's really quite interesting. One, I think, was a study, and it said that the determining factor of whether a man has an affair is opportunity. So that's kind of one end of the spectrum. And then I'm really interested in why politicians do this. They'll always go around and say, Bill Clinton was so smart. Well, was he really smart? Look what happened to him. And we just have endless examples of hubris, Elliot Spitzer and the latest, all these people. And I'm just really interested in a very honest exploration of, from their point of view, they clearly think they're right. They clearly think they're not going to get caught. They think this is a good thing. And I'm wondering what's going on in their mind to do that. And that's where this came from.
Sounds to me like a lot of your things are about getting to the heart of something. Like you're sending people out into nature, forgive me, but like Shakespeare, they send them off to find themselves in other work that seems to get to something else.
Yeah, realistic theater is not, I think, my favorite thing, because this is a realistic play, but you really want to put your characters in a world of the play. So I don't like to preach and write an essay. I think plays make really terrible essays. But you can create a world of the play which sort of incorporates what that essay might be. Like, why do politicians constantly have affairs and then lie? That's the world of the play. But the actual interaction, what plays can do, is talk about emotions and relationships between people. So you've got characters, and what would it be like to be the wife of a man who has destroyed his career and perhaps your career too? Because what do you want out of that relationship? Look at Hillary Clinton, and clearly she was as equally ambitious a politician as Bill Clinton, and what he did really hurt her.
So is this a political? You said this was a political world. What? Yes.
Yeah.
What does that mean in your mind?
To me, politics is about power and not about ideology. I think all the ideology of politics is a complete lie designed to separate people. It's all wedge issues. And I think that politicians are like salamanders. They just change to whatever's opportunistic. And all the people around them, too. So I have a kind of dark vision of politics. My view goes right across the board. Democrats, Republicans, I feel completely ripped off by all of them. So, yeah, I think there's this real power game where your main goal is to define the debate and the words that you use and how you perceive them.
Yeah.
And I think that may be behind. If that's what you do all the time, if all you do is create your own world through lies and it works, then maybe you would have an affair because, hey, I'll just cover that up just like I did everything else, you know.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop the war in Iraq. No, I won't. You know, so, yeah, I think of that kind of world.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, that sort of don't think of an elephant kind of thing, you know, and how you're framing your debate is the debate. It makes sense.
That and this incredible ability people have they have an existing point of view, and then they only accept information which supports that, and they reject information which doesn't support that. And you know, the last time I had a long discussion with a Tea Party activist was walking down a trail in Yosemite. It was about a 45-minute discussion, and it was incredible. I was like really nice, and I was drawing her out, and I was just, I mean, it was like one contradictory wall I would run into after the other, but she was happy.
And that's all
cool.
that really matters,
Yeah.
right? If you personally are happy.
Whenever I really got her, she'd go, "Oh, my husband does that. He knows about that." Yeah.
So let's talk about our characters a little bit. We have a few people who are in the first scene, which is what you've scripted. And there are a bunch of people who aren't. Characters, let's see. People in the first scene are Mark and Rodney. Is that correct?
Yes.
So Mark is Steve, right? And Rodney is Greg. Cool.
So I'm hesitant to talk too much about them because a few things. I think the way the first scene is written, you know, you sneak the exposition in there with the dialogue, so you learn about things. And also, improv actors, I want to give you license to do whatever you need to do. I know that I've included a fairly extensive description of the characters there, but that is just like my natural instinct. But I'm not really here to see you puppet my words. That's not the point. So feel free to. You know, what I would say is that what I really like about your group, and I've seen in your previous shows, is you are committed to your characters, which is great. I know Trish and I had this whole thing back in Tilted Frame, which was a group that was more addicted to the cheap joke than to the honest character. You're all familiar with that, okay? Not to say that, and that's where I think humor comes from the same place anyway. You know, if you're obsessed, that's funny. People who are obsessed are funny. Machines who are people are funny. So I don't know what to say about the characters. Are you going to read stage directions? Is that
You're not going to read stage directions.
You're not going to read stage directions.
No.
That can be tough.
We'll read
There's
them
a-
in our head.
Well, there's a kind of a, then should I say the pantomime thing that happens before the play starts? Before the dialogue? No?
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll
Oh, you're just going to do
we'll-
that.
We'll dance it.
You have those skills.
Yeah.
They're badass.
Yeah. I got an 18 there. Okay, great.
Do you guys have any questions?
I do have one
Yeah,
question.
sure, sure.
Just is Miriam supposed to be Anna's daughter? Because she's listed in the
Oh. Sure.
opener as Mark's daughter. But I just
Yeah,
wasn't
sure, why not?
Okay, I just wanted to
I have never thought about
You're
that.
my fan.
Yeah, that's cool.
just wasn't
Yeah.
just clarifying.
It's a nuclear family.
Okay.
Yeah.
What does the long arc mean?
Good question. Okay. And I've already forgotten the quote. You might remember it. Well, you made me shorten it to 7 pages. The quote is explained. 7 pages. It's a Martin Luther King
The quote
quote.
is 8 pages.
Help me, Lynn, here. It's Lynn. Can you help me with this? It's the. It's like the march of. Is it justice? No.
Someone Google it.
It's a Martin Luther King quote and he was plagiarizing someone else. The idea is that the arc of justice, you know, it's long and then slowly, but it always
It bends towards justice.
Bends towards justice.
that's the
Ah.
idea. So
Social progression.
In the play, it's set in a kind of cynical way. So,
You have 3 settings listed. Are those the only settings that you imagine?
no, what I imagine is the settings as a sort of generic thing is think about politicians. What do? They go from hotel room to banquet room to maybe a little diner where they flip some pancakes for the cameras. I kiss a baby. It's kind of a miserable life on the road. It's probably the last place you would prepare to run the country. It's just you're on parade. There could be some dark corners of this. The parking garage where a deep throat met. That kind of thing.
Do you imagine other characters, or only the ones that you have identified?
I haven't yet. I have not. So I think most of my plays are kind of. I think when you have fewer characters and fewer locations, it compresses things and makes it more tense and difficult. So there's no need for you to explore all those places or characters or anything.
Have you placed this in our reality with references to politicians outside of this microcosm, or is this sort of an unidentified America?
Unidentified America. I would never explicitly reference something like that, but we live in that. When we're not talking about debt debates, we're talking about sexual.
Yeah, I see. Political parties, but I haven't seen a politician's name. I didn't know.
A practical question: do you see this really like a pacing thing? Is it really fast, and, or in between, or what kind of music or lights? What's the mood you kind of feel for this?
I like to write lean. I mean, this is an extended scene, but I like things lean. I guess it's kind of bright and ugly like a hotel room usually.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Bright and ugly.
Yeah. There is, there is a character who might come up who is fond of blues. So.
Okay. Cool. I have 2 questions for you. One large, one small, and the first one, the large one. So as we were talking about, this is an experiment, a grand experiment, which we've had a lot of fun and success with in our run-up to this point about mixing scripted and unscripted theater. So what you as a writer, I think we as improvisers are in the place where we're like, this is so cool that we're given these gifts, of exciting new characters and different storylines that we might come up with. What do you as a writer want to experience in all of this?
I just want to see truthful characters based on what I started. So when you build a character, they have some kind of need. They need something, they can't get it. There's obstacles in the way. They come up with strategies to overcome those obstacles, and that's what gives them character. One guy takes a gun and robs a bank. The other guy gets a job and earns some money. And it defines character. So I just want to see, I started these initial conditions, kind of like a little computer program, if you do that kind of thing. And they're off in the world. I just like to see a truthfulness to that. I don't have any goals other than that. Mixing improv and scripting is actually something I'm quite interested in the filmmaking world. Christopher Guest and Mike Lee do this kind of thing. So I'm real interested to see where they go with that.
Great.
That's it.
And my small question,
Oh, yeah.
where are we in the first scene? And can you describe it a little bit for us?
Sure. So we're in a hotel room.
Right now,
it's in New York City. This one isn't so bright because the one window looks out on a brick wall, an air shaft. It is late morning, and you're gonna pantomime all the stage directions, so I don't want to ruin your day there. Curious to know how much of that you can get across, but go right ahead. It's the morning after in all the ways that we.
Great. Well, let's give Jonathan Luskin a hand.